Do you ever feel like you get stuck in this role of being the bad guy and somebody else gets to be the good guy? Or maybe you get stuck in the role of having to do all the really hard stuff, but the other person gets to do all the fun stuff. And you're like, what gives? It doesn't seem fair, but you really don't know how to get out of that cycle. Hi, I'm Dr. Natalie Marr. I'm a clinical psychologist and a life transition expert. And I want to help women in midlife shift out of this binary. Now, it goes back to what we were talking about last week with roles. When we define ourselves, who we are as people, by our roles, for instance, I'm a mom, we get stuck really rigidly in these places where our duties are already defined for us, and that automatically means that everybody else gets to do everything else and isn't responsible for those things. I can't tell you the number of times that I've worked with midlife women who are just sick and tired of being the ones that are responsible for picking up the kids and coordinating that and coordinating getting to sports and coordinating dinners for the week and all of the things that go into being mom. And yet at the same time, they define themselves as mom. And this idea of momness in our culture is that she's some sort of superwoman that does all the things, kind of leaves the other parent out of the picture, and co-parenting then kind of gets this dynamic where the other parent is the fun parent and the mom parent is the one that gets stuck with all the stuff. The way to shift out of this, so my tip for you, the way to shift from this perspective is to think about it as not who you are, but things you do, what you do. My momming is what I do. And sometimes I'm momming, and sometimes I'm at work and I'm being a psychologist, and sometimes I'm just a friend and a woman and I get to do the fun things. When we shift out of using the roles to define who we are as people, it allows more flexibility for us to divvy out these responsibilities. And then we don't have to feel so dang exhausted. Do you hear me? I hope that this is a helpful thing for you. It's not just with this role of being a mom. We do this with ourselves a lot of the time. It might even be something a little bit smaller, like an aspect of who we are. I'm the smart one. Well, does that make everybody else in your life the dumb one? Or I'm the funny one. Well, does that make everybody else in your life the boring one? And then that puts you on a pedestal of having to stay smart and stay funny all the time. Maybe you have a day where you're just like, I'm not in. Like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to be funny about it, whatever it is. So if you're finding yourself getting stuck in these roles, I would really encourage you to ask yourself, am I defining who I am by this role? Or is this one of the things I do? Is this what I do? Not who, but what, right? Stay compassionately self-aware, and you too can learn to love your story.